Hey, what's going on everyone? It's Jacob. Welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about the concept of when you're trying to start an online business, when you want to start a personal brand. That's what we talk about mostly here. The concept of worrying about what other people think, right? It's something that plagues a lot of people. It's something I talk about with a lot of my students. I know they go through this. I went through it. It's a thing that can hold a lot of people back. And the key is to figure out a plan that means that you won't let this cripple you. But there's a couple of issues to talk about before we even get to that, and that's what we're going to talk about in this video. So let's dive into it. Alright, before we dive in, be sure to subscribe to the channel, click the bell icon so you get notified whenever I drop a new video. Give the video a like if you get any value from it, and leave a comment below. I'll do my best to get back to you throughout the week if I get the time. So, the concept of worrying about what other people think. Now, when you're trying to build an affiliate marketing business in particular, I mean, this really applies to any online business, but we talk mostly about affiliate marketing here and high-ticket affiliate marketing in particular. When you're trying to get a business moving in this space, there's really two paths you can go down. You can either go down the path where you sit behind the scenes, or you can go down the path where you're the face of the brand. Now, depending on which path you take, the strategies that are available to you are going to change, right? There's a certain scope of strategies which is generally a bit smaller that you can use if you want to sit behind the scenes, and there's a scope of strategies that you can use which is generally a bit broader if you are okay with being the face of a brand. Now, when I talk to people, because I in particular help people that are happy and want to build a brand around themselves, they want to build a personal brand, right? And one thing a lot of them say is, I really want to do this, but I'm worried about what people are going to think. I'm worried about putting my face out there. I'm worried about the judgment. I'm worried about all of these things, and I get it. For a long time, I had to operate behind the scenes out of fear of that, but also my job situation, which is the first issue to talk about. Is the fear that you're feeling around worrying about what other people think, is it a legitimate risk? Okay, there's two types of things here. You can have the fear of what people think, purely worrying about what they might say behind your back. If that's the case, people are going to talk. You may as well give them something to talk about. But if it's that you're worried about putting your face out there because you may potentially jeopardize a job, then that's a different story, and I would encourage you to seriously consider it. I was in that boat. I really couldn't have any social media presence back when I was getting started, so that's why I started doing a blog behind the scenes. So that was a legitimate circumstance where I wasn't able to do it, but I think a lot of people who aren't in that boat where they're actually bound let this hold them back, right? They let the concern around what other people might say hold them back. And generally, when that is the case, there's a couple of things that you can do. The first thing is coming up with a strategy that might let you ease into it, right? Rather than going from zero to hero, going from never posting online to trying to start a YouTube channel where you're putting up videos, which can be challenging for people in itself, is coming up with a strategy that lets you ease into it. So one thing we do in the accelerator program, in the Super Affiliate Accelerator program, is we show people how over on Facebook, if they want to start posting, they can actually segment their friends list out, so they can bucket people into different areas, and then they can exclude people from certain posts, and it gives them a little bit control. It's not perfect, it's not ideal, but it gives people a little bit more control than they would otherwise have. So that's one option, is if you can be honest with yourself and admit that it's not really a risk that putting yourself out there to do this personal branding thing, there's not really any risk associated with it, and it's more of a fear thing, then consider strategies that might let you ease into it, like something like that, right? Where you can start doing it, but almost in a controlled kind of environment, right? Or within your own private Facebook group as well. That's another option. You can sit behind the scenes, as in the Facebook group, but you can also be a brand. Hopefully that makes sense. So that's one option, is ease into it. The other option is, and I can recall a message that I sent to it was then a prospect, now a customer, who's gone on to do some awesome things. We were messaging back and forth, and this was back when I was launching the accelerator program, with the links in the description if you want to check it out. And we were in beta, and I was talking to her on Messenger. She was in my Facebook group, and we were going back and forth trying to figure out if it was the right fit for her. And she seemed really keen. She seemed like she wanted to, she knew what she wanted to do. She knew the goals she wanted to hit. She wanted to get out of her day job, all these kind of things that we hear. And then she said something to the effect of, Jacob, I'm really shy. Is this going to work for me? And short answer is no. Long answer is yes. The short answer being, if you're shy and you don't change anything and you keep being shy and you don't do anything to push yourself outside your comfort zone, then no, it's not going to work. But if you're shy now, that's totally okay. If you can commit to getting uncomfortable and pushing yourself, this is exactly what I said to her in the message. If you can commit to pushing yourself, then, at the time we were talking about the beta program and the community, we will be there to push you every step of the way. But it starts with you taking the step to actually get uncomfortable. And she's an amazing story. I'll try to get her on for an interview at some point. But she came in, she started posting on her profile, following the training to build up an audience. Her engagement went through the roof. She made her first few sales, had her first 1K day, and then she saw a launch opportunity for a software, and took the audience that she'd built, that engagement that she'd built, and rolled it into that launch. And she went from having never really done affiliate marketing, being the super shy person, to winning the leaderboard on that launch, which was a near-on six-figure launch in a week. And she won a trip to Thailand, which she'll be able to take when the world's a bit more normal and we can travel and all those kind of things, to mastermind with the guy who created the software, who's done millions online, and she gets to hang out with him and mastermind and coach and do all that kind of cool stuff. And that was the same person that was saying, Jacob, I'm really shy, because she committed to taking those steps to push herself, and then she was part of a program that gave her the strategies and the nudging along that she needed along the way, right? So I think ultimately this comes down to, what is your individual situation? And really what I've just described there is three buckets. You've got people who are worried about it because it's a genuine, potential risk to a job, and if that's the case, I would be strategic about what you do, and seriously consider the path you take. The next option is the people that are worried about what other people think, and it's purely a fear thing. It's purely what are they going to say? Look, eventually you're going to get to a point where you're not really going to care, because what you're going to realize is it really doesn't matter. It has no bearing on you and what you do. If you're doing this, you've got a goal that you want to hit, and you'll become pretty ruthless about doing what it takes to hit that goal and not really worrying about what other people have to say about it. But if you want to ease into it, look into some strategies like I spoke about that might let you progressively ease into the world and get a little bit comfortable with the personal branding thing before you go, all in with it, so to speak. Or get okay with the fact that, look, I'm going to have to push myself. I'm going to have to get uncomfortable. I might cop some flack for it along the way, but that's totally okay, because when I do, cool shit happens. Like the story, sorry, my backup alarm going off on my phone. Like the story I just told you about that lady. She took that path. She was shy, she was scared, she was worried. She pushed herself, and in the space of the next few months, she was winning a launch, right? And now she's going to go on and she's growing an audience. She's going to go on and do all these cool things, right? So you can fit into one of those three buckets. The core of it, though, is if you want the outcome bad enough, if you want the result bad enough that's driving you to want to do this, and it's not the financial, it's that deeper reason, the time, the ability to travel, whatever it may be, the location, then that should ultimately overcome in time. I know it's not a perfect world where you just go, oh, today I'm worried, tomorrow I'm not going to be worried about what people think. It takes time to build up, right? And it's not going to be like a linear progression from not giving a shit, or from giving a shit to not giving a shit. Like some days you will, some days you won't. It's all part of the journey. But if the deeper reason that you want to do it is significant enough, then you will make it happen. If it's worth enough to you, you'll push yourself enough to get uncomfortable. The other thing too is we build it up so much in our heads because to us it's so important. It's like when you put out a piece of content, you record a video or you type up a Facebook post, you spend time doing it. To you, that's a really important thing. To the vast majority of people out there, it's just one of a million things that they're consuming in a given day, and it's really not that important to them. That said, there are going to be people out there who will deliberately try and bring you down, who'll deliberately, go out of their way to put shit on your content and just be an asshole about it. Those people are out there. They got their own things that they're dealing with, and one thing to think is that if you're doing that, it's because you're doing something different. And when people do things that are different, some people aren't going to like it. But remember that the vast majority of people aren't doing anything. They're not being productive. They're not having breakthroughs. They're not doing that much, the vast majority of people. So if you're doing something different and it's attracting that kind of attention, it's probably a pretty good sign that you're on the right track. So just keep that in mind as well. Hopefully that puts some perspective around the concept of worrying about what people think. I don't know which one of those buckets you fall into, but again, a lot of this comes back to just being honest and doing a bit of a self-audit and then figuring out the best path for you from there. There's another side to this, which is about picking a strategy that's in synergy with you and your situation and all those kind of things, which I've got a video on my channel about, so you can go check that out if you want to. But that's it for today. Be sure to check out the Super Affiliate Accelerator. That lady I spoke about, she's a member in there. So it works for people who were shy and worried and stressed out, and if they can push themselves out of their comfort zone a little bit, some cool stuff can happen. So if you're in that boat and you're okay with getting a little bit uncomfortable, check out the Super Affiliate Accelerator. You can see if it's a good fit for you or not. I hope you all have a great day. I'll see you all in the next one. Be sure to subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. Cheers.